Good morning, everyone. So, today we are going to start chapter number 7 of your book, An Alien Hand. The name of the chapter is Chandni. So, Chandni is a name of a goat, and the whole chapter revolves around that goat. And Abu Khan is the main character of the story. So, let us start reading the chapter. Abu Khan kept goats as pets. He loved his goats, but they left him one by one. He bought a young, pretty goat and called her Chandni. Now, there once upon a time, there lived an old man in Almora. Almora is the name of a place. He was popularly known as Abu Khan. What was the name of that man? It was Abu Khan. He lived all alone except for a few goats, which he always kept as pets. He did not have any family member, but he had pets, and all those pets were his goats. He gave his goats funny names such as Kalwa, Mungia, or Gujri. So he kept names of his goats just to give them a personal touch that yes, they are the part of his family. He would take them out for grazing during the day and talk to them as one talks to one's own children. At night, he would bring them back to his little hut and put a string around the neck of each goat. So, as I told you that he named his goats, he treated them as his children. During the daytime, he took them to graze and he talked to them as one talks to own children. He treated them as children and he shared his feelings with his goats as one shares his feelings with his children. And at night, what he would do, he would bring them back to his little hut and put a string around the neck of each goat. And at night, he tied all his goats. Poor Abu Khan was a little unlucky in the matter of his goats. He was not fortunate enough. He had to face bad luck in matter of his goats. Very often at night, one of the goats would pull at the string till it broke loose and then would disappear in the hills beyond. And what happened that very often means very frequently at night time, the goats which he kept, they would pull and pull at the string, whatever the rope they had around their neck, they would pull that string, pull that rope till it broke loose, till the time the rope was loose and then would disappear in the hills beyond. And when once the rope was loose, they would disappear, they would run away from Abu Khan's hut. Disappear means be lost beyond, hills beyond. He had a hut in the hills. So at night, his goats, they ran away from Abu Khan's compound. Goats in hilly regions hate being tied to trees or poles. जो hilly regions में goats होते हैं, they don't like that they should be tied up. They want to live their life freely. But Abu Khan always made the goats his pets, so the goats did not stay with Abu Khan for long. Whenever they got chance, they just ran away. They love their freedom. And the goats which live in hilly regions, they love their freedom and they love to lead a free life. Abu Khan's goats were the best of hill breed. They too loved their freedom. So whenever they got the chance, they would run away only to get killed by an old wolf who lived in the hills. And Abu Khan always kept the goats of good breed, and they all the goats, they loved their freedom. So whenever the goats got the chance, they just freed themselves and ran away in the hills. And what happened there in the hills, they would run away only to get killed by an old wolf who lived in the hills. So there lived an old wolf in the hills. So whenever any goat ran away, it was killed by that old wolf. Whenever one of his goats disappeared, Abu Khan was very sad. He did not understand why even the juiciest grass and the grains that he gave them and all the love that he showered on them would not stop these unfortunate goats from running straight into the jaws of death. And Abu Khan every time got very upset whenever any goat disappeared from his compound, and he could not understand that why the good quality of food which he gave them and the love and care which he gave to his goats would not stop them from getting killed by that wolf. He could not understand that why these goats ran away from his compound when they knew that they would die. Are these goats mad? He wondered. Or was it their love for freedom? Every time the goat ran, Abu Khan was confused whether it was their love for freedom, uh, but the freedom meant struggle, hardship, even death. Whenever any got free, it means he had to struggle. It had to face hardships, and even that goat could die. Abu Khan could not solve the mystery, and even after knowing that they would die, their love for freedom was a mystery for Abu Khan. One day, when all his goats had left him, Abu Khan said to himself, "No more goats in my house ever again. I may yet live for a few more years, but I live without goats." So this time he got very much disappointed and he decided not to keep any goat as a pet. And he says that he would live for a few years and he would live all alone. He would not bring any goat to keep it as a pet now. However, the poor old man was terribly lonely. He simply couldn't do without his pets. Very soon, he bought a young goat. He thought, "A young goat will stay with me much longer. She will soon begin to love me as well as the food I give her every day. She will never want to go to the hills." And he laughed with joy. But he could not stay without goats or any companion. So that poor man, poor is used for Abu Khan because we feel pity for him because he was all alone. He did not have any companion. So he felt very lonely. He simply could not do without his pets because he did not have any other member in his family, and he spent his life with his pets. So he could not stay without them. So very soon he bought a young goat. And this time, why did he bring a young goat? He has his own reasons. What he feels that a young goat will stay with him much longer. ज़्यादा time के लिए उसके पास रहेगी. She will soon begin to love me as well as the food I give her every day. And he had this conception in his mind that if he bought a young goat, that goat would stay with him for a long time, and the goat would start loving the food because he provided good quality of food to his pets. So that goat would love the food which he would give, and gradually the goat will fall in love with Abu Khan also and would never leave him ever. And he laughed with joy, and this thought of bringing a young goat gave him happiness. The new goat was very pretty. She was white as snow. Now, white as snow is a simile, baraf ki tarah safed, and had two little horns on her little head and a pair of gleaming red eyes. Gleaming means shining. This is the description of the goat given, that it was white and it has a pair of little horns on her head and a pair of shining red eyes. She had a friendly temperament. Temperament is nature. The goat was of friendly nature and would listen to Abu Khan's tales. Tales means stories, with a lot of interest and affection. That young goat was friendly, so she listened to the stories of Abu Khan with great interest and love. Abu Khan called her Chandni. What did Abu Khan name that goat? It was Chandni, which means moonlight. जिसका मतलब क्या है? Moonlight. He loved Chandni and would narrate to her stories of all his friends who were dead and gone. So he had a habit of telling stories to his goats, and to Chandni also he narrated the stories of his life, of his friends, of all those friends who were dead or who were not in his life now. Several years passed. Chandni was still there. Um, It was a long time. Chandni still stayed with Abu Khan. Abu Khan believed that Chandni would never leave his compound for the free and fresh air of the hills beyond. And because the goat stayed with Abu Khan for a long time, so he started believing that Chandni would never leave him. उसको कभी छोड़ के नहीं जाएगी. Leave his compound. Compound is enclosure, जिस चार दीवारी में वो चांदनी को रखता था. For the fresh and free air of the hills beyond. जो hills की fresh and free air को लेने के लिए वो उसको कभी भी छोड़ के नहीं जाएगी. Alas, he was mistaken again. बट अफसोस की बात है कि वो इस बार भी गलत था. Every morning, Chandni watched the hilltops bathed in the sunlight. So she was the Chandni goat was kept in a compound, and that compound had a window. And through that window, the every morning Chandni would watch the hilltops bathed in sunlight. इसका मतलब hilltops पे जब सूरज की किरणें पड़ती थी, every morning Chandni saw that how beautiful those hills are. She thought, and she thought to herself that those hills are very beautiful. She was attracted by the beauty of nature, the hills, the flowers, the greenery. So she was attracted by the beautiful nature around her compound. How refreshing the breeze that blows through them, and how lovely to run across those green fields. And every time she saw those hills, she felt that the breeze blowing through those hills was very refreshing. It was giving a refreshing spirit to Chandini, and how lovely to run across those green fields. And she thought that how lovely, how amazing would it be if she ran across those green fields. She ran towards the hills but had to stop with a jerk. Jerk means pull. She tried to run away, but she was stopped with a jerk. The rope around her neck wouldn't let her go any further. Why was she stopped? Because the rope which was around her neck would not allow her to go further. How she hated that rope, and she hated that rope very badly because that rope did not allow Chandni to go further. She stopped eating the green grass Abu Khan brought for her, nor did she listen to his stories with interest and affection. So, when Chandni felt that she could not go out of the compound, she stopped eating her food. Her behavior changed actually, and she did not have interest in eating green grass which Abu Khan gave her every day, nor did she listen to his stories with interest and affection. And she also did not pay attention to the stories what Abu Khan told her. She lost her appetite. Appetite means desire for food. भूख, उसकी भूख खत्म हो चुकी थी. Grew very thin. Now when she did not take her food properly, she got weak and stared moodily at hilltops bathed in sunlight. And what she did, she just looked outside the window at the hilltops which were bathed in sunlight. Abu Khan did not understand Chandni's anguish. Anguish means severe mental pain. When we have some mental pain, we are suffering mentally, that is called anguish. And Abu Khan could not understand that why Chandni had started behaving that way. At last, she decided to speak to him frankly. She here is referring to Chandni. So she decided that she would frankly means in an open, honest, and direct manner. Means directly she would tell Abu Khan why is she behaving that way. Dear Abu Khan, she said, let me go to the hills, please. If I stay on in your compound, I'll die. So one day she talked to Abu Khan, and she told him that Abu Khan should allow her to go in the hills, because if she stayed in Abu Khan's compound in that room, she would die. Now Abu Khan understood Chandni's problem. When Chandni directly told Abu Khan what was her problem, then she could understand the change in her behavior. But it made him very unhappy. After listening to Chandni, Abu Khan got very unhappy. The other pot, which contained Chandni's breakfast, fell from his hands and broke into 1,000 pieces. अदन पॉट मीन्स मेड ऑफ क्ले, मिट्टी का जो पॉट था, बर्तन था जिसमें अबू खान चांदनी के लिए ब्रेकफास्ट लेके आया था. It fell from his hands. जब उसने ये सुना that Chandni wanted to go in the hills, it fell from his hands and broke into 1,000 pieces. Why do you want to leave me, Chandni? Abu Khan asked. Abu Khan ने पूछा क्यों मुझे छोड़ना चाहती हो तुम? I want to go to the hills. Chandni answered. What was her answer? That she wanted to go to the hills. Don't you like the food here? I'll give you tastier food and a much longer rope. Now again, Abu Khan tries to convince Chandni not to go to the hills. So he says that he would provide him with more tasty food and much longer rope so that she could move further in her compound itself. No, thank you. Let me go to the hills. It was an answer of Chandini. Do you realize the risk you are running? You obstinate creature. Obstinate means stubborn. Stubborn means जिद्दी. क्या तुम्हें पता है कि इस चीज में कितना रिस्क इन्वॉल्व है? There is a dangerous wolf in the hills. He'll eat you up. Abu Khan did his best to warn her. Abu Khan ने try किया that he should warn Chandni not to go in the hills, not to insist him to free her. And Abu Khan also told Chandni that there is a dangerous wolf in the hills and it had eaten many goats, so Chandni should not go in the hills. Chandni answered, God has given me a pair of horns. I'll fight the wolf. This line shows the confidence of Chandni that she is blessed with a pair of horns to protect herself, so she would fight that wolf. Fight the wolf? Indeed. Have you forgotten the story of your sister Kalua, who was the size up of a big deer? She fought the wolf through the night but was killed in the morning. Abu Khan narrated Kalua's story for the 50th time. Now again, Abu Khan reminded Chandni about story of another goat, Kalwa, and he was surprised when Chandni said that she would fight the wolf because he reminded Chandni that there was a goat named Kalwa who was the size of a big deer. It was quite big and she fought the wolf through the night. पूरी रात वो वॉल्फ के साथ लड़ती रही बट was killed in the morning. And ये स्टोरी अबू खान this story, Abu Khan was telling Chandni for the 50th time. Next, to all this, Chandni had only one thing to say. I want to go to the hills. इस पे चांदनी सिर्फ एक ही बात बोल रही थी that she wants to go to the hills. Abu Khan got very annoyed. बहुत annoyed means angry. He got very angry. He thundered means shouted angrily. You are not going anywhere. From today, you will live in a small hut and not move about freely in the compound. Ungrateful as you are, you must still be saved from the wolf. अब अबू खान बहुत गुस्से में उसको बोलता है that you are not going anywhere, I'll not leave you. आज से तुम इसी स्मॉल हट में रहोगी and even in your compound you will not move freely. Ungrateful as you are, चाहे तुम कितनी ही ungrateful हो, you don't show any gratitude for what I do for you, you must still be saved from the wolf. पर फिर भी तुम्हें wolf से बचाया जाना चाहिए. He pushed her into a small hut and shut the door. उसने उसको small hut में रखा और door बंद कर दिया. But he forgot to close the small window at the back. But उस door के रूम के पीछे जो एक small window थी उसको बंद करना वो भूल गया. The same night, Chandni made that window her passage to freedom. और उसी रात चांदनी ने उस विंडो को अपना पैसेज टू फ्रीडम बना लिया. नेक्स्ट इज द फ्रीडम. Then Chandni reaches the hills. Chandni reached the hills. It seemed to her that the old hills were standing in a row to welcome her. So when she ran away from that room, she thought that the hills were there to welcome her. She felt like a child meeting her parents after years of separation. Wherever she went, the tall grass rose to embrace her, the flowers bloomed to amuse her, and the wind sang an endless song of welcome. How different all this was from her past in the prison house of Abu Khan's compound. It was the happiest day in Chandni's life. So, in this whole paragraph, we come to know that when Chandni reached the hills, she felt as if everything, the whole nature, the whole, I mean, the hills, the flowers, the grass, everything was welcoming her. She felt as if a child was meeting her parents after so many years of separation. Wherever she went, the tall grass rose to embrace her. Embrace means hug her. And the flowers bloomed to amuse her. There were flowers which welcomed her. And then how different all this was from past in the prison. ये सब कुछ जो था वो बहुत ही different था उसकी past life से जो उसने prison में spend की थी. It was the happiest day of her life, and this was the happiest day which Chandni felt. The sun disappeared behind the hills. अब जो sun था वो disappear हो गया. And soon darkness evolved the grass. Evolved means covered the grass, and the flowers and the trees means there was darkness all around. All the nature was covered with darkness. The wind stopped blowing. हवा चलनी बंद हो गई थी. And there was stillness all around. Stillness means calmness. सब तरफ शांति थी. Stillness all around for a strange sound which was coming from the bushes. There was silence everywhere, there was calmness everywhere, but what could be heard was a sound, a strange sound coming from the bushes. The sound was like a grunt. Grunt means act of growling, as if koi growl kar raha ho animal. What was it? क्या था ये? It was Abu Khan's voice calling her back to the compound. क्या ये अबू खान की वॉइस थी जो उसको बुला रहा था कंपाउंड में? Nor was it the voice of another goat, और ये किसी दूसरी गोट की आवाज भी नहीं थी. Then Chandni thought of the dangerous wolf who lived in the hills. फिर उसके माइंड में थॉट आया, it might be the wolf who lived in the hills. She felt scared. उसको डर लगने लगा. Should she go back to the safety of Abu Khan's hut? No, she said to herself. Death in an open field is far better than life in a small hut. But when the thought came to her mind that she should go back to Abu Khan for safety, the very next moment she told herself that it is not the time to go back to Abu Khan. She felt that it is better to die in an open field than to live the whole life in a small hut. Means she preferred her freedom than her life. The wolf had come out of the bushes and was staring greedily at Chandni. Wolf bahar aaya and it started staring at Chandni. His eyes were shining like burning coals in the darkness. And what could be seen? His shining eyes, the shining eyes of the wolf. He seemed in no hurry. और wolf जो था वो बहुत ज़्यादा हरी में नहीं लग रहा था. He knew the new goat was his, और उसको पता था कि जो नई गोट है वो उसकी होगी. The wolf and the goat sized up each other. Sized up each other means judged each other, means they judged each other's strength. The wolf was big and ferocious. Ferocious means violent. Whereas the goat, though healthy, was small. Goat जो थी वो चाहे healthy थी, but it was small in size. But small is not weak. But chota hona, it's not the symbol of weakness. Chandni stood firm on her legs, head slightly bent and horns jutting out. Ab ye position of Chandni is told when she was getting ready to fight. She stood with great determination and she slightly bent her head, and the horns jutting out means the horns were stuck out. Bahar ko horns nikaliye. So uska position of fighting is told here. She was a picture of courage. At that time, the way she presented herself in front of the wolf to fight, it was a picture of courage. She looked like a brave soldier ready to fight a treacherous enemy. Treacherous means unfaithful enemy. I must put up a good fight. Put up means take up, means I should fight bravely, Chandni thought. Success or failure is a matter of luck or chance. जीतना या हारना, succeed करना या fail होना. It is just a matter of luck. The fight began. लड़ाई शुरू हुई. It went on through the night. और पूरी रात वो लड़ाई चलती रही. The moon, which had been watching the fight, began to grow pale. जो witness था moon, जो रात को fight शुरू हुई थी तो moon was the witness, and after some time it started to grow pale, means उसकी light जो थी धीरे धीरे कम होने लग गई, and suddenly hid behind the clouds, और वो suddenly clouds के पीछे छुप गया. The stars also began to disappear one by one, means अब जो दिन शुरू होने वाला था, रात ढल रही थी और दिन शुरू होने वाला था. A faint light appeared in the east and the morning call for prayer came from a distant mosque. Distant means far away. तो धीरे धीरे करके जो मूनलाइट थी वो कम होती गई, स्टार्स छुपते गए और सनलाइट निकलने लगी और दूर कहीं से प्रेयर्स की आवाज आने लगी. इट मीन्स ऑल दीज आर द सिंबल्स ऑफ राइजिंग सन, सुबह होने के. द फर्स्ट रे ऑफ द सन सॉ चांदनी लाइंग ऑन द ग्राउंड, और जैसे ही सूरज की पहली किरण आई, उसने क्या विटनेस किया? चांदनी ग्राउंड के ऊपर लेटी हुई थी. शी वॉज कंप्लीटली सोक्ड इन ब्लड. सोप मीन्स एक्सट्रीमली वेट, वो खून से भरी हुई थी. द वॉल्फ टायर्ड एंड स्लीपी, जो वॉल्फ था वो भी काफी थक चुका था और स्लीपी फील कर रहा था, वॉज गेटिंग रेडी टू डिवोर हर. डिवोर मीन्स ईट ग्रीडीली. तो वो रेडी हो रहा था कि अब वो चांदनी को खा जाएगा. इट मीन्स दे हैड अ टफ फाइट. ये पैराग्राफ से आपको क्या पता चल रहा है? दैट चांदनी गेव अ टफ फाइट टू द वॉल्फ, दैट ही felt tired, he felt sleepy. It was not easy for Wolf to defeat Chandni. An assembly of birds perched on the top of a tree nearby was debating the result of the fight. अब एक assembly means group of birds जो कहाँ पे बैठे हुए थे? एक पास ही के tree top पे बैठे थे, and they were debating the result of the fight. Debating means arguing. वो argue कर रहे थे कि क्या result है उस fight का? Who is the winner? Winner कौन है? One of them asked. उनमें से किसी एक ने पूछा इस fight का winner कौन है? The wolf, of course, most of them said. बहुत सारे बर्ड्स ने कहा, ऑफ कोर्स वॉल्फ ही है विनर. अ वाइज सोल बर्ड डिक्लेम्ड विद कॉन्फिडेंस. Declaim means to speak pompously, means with great confidence quickly. He said that Chandni is the winner. He said that Chandni is the winner of this fight. Though Chandni died at the end, but why did the bird call Chandni a winner? Because she gave a tough fight to the wolf for her freedom. So I hope the chapter is clear to you all. अरे भाई, इतने जाने क्यों बाहर हैं? डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था. राधिका मैम, आर यू देयर?